Hello, welcome to channel Maths Magic. Today we are going to discuss one of the important topic, sequences. What is sequences? Sequences is the pattern. For example, if you have some numbers like this 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, so on. You can see there is a certain pattern. Your number is increasing by +2 every time. This is pattern. We can have some other pattern. Let's say you are having 2, then you got 4, then you got 8, then you got, let's say, 14. So just look at the pattern. First number is increased by +2, then second number is increased by +4, then third number is increased by +6. So this is pattern. So there are different types of pattern, but over here we will focus on specific pattern. It's called arithmetic sequence. So we will look specific pattern which is called arithmetic sequence. So what is arithmetic sequence? When your pattern is increasing or decreasing by constant number. If your pattern is increasing or decreasing by constant number, then we can call it arithmetic sequence. Let's see the example first. So let's say we are having 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, so on. You can see every time your pattern is increasing by +2. So this is constant number. So every next number is obtained by adding +2 from the previous number. We can see more example. Let's say we are having 5, then 8, 11, 14, 17. Now just look at the pattern. So every time your new number is obtained by adding +3 to the previous number. So your pattern is increasing by a constant number. We can see some more example. Let's say you are having 15, then 12, then 9, then 6, so on. So just look at this. Every new number is obtained by decreasing 3 in the previous number. So 15 minus 3 is 12, 12 minus 3 is 9, 9 minus 3 is 6. So any pattern with constant change, like if it is increasing by a certain constant number or decreasing by certain constant number, then we can call it arithmetic sequence. So we will see some terminologies used for arithmetic sequence. First of all, if you have any sequence, so we have initial term, we call it first term. First term can be denoted by letter U1, or sometimes it will be denoted by A. In some textbook you will find it's denoted by U1. In some other textbook you will find that it is denoted by A. So you don't need to be confused with this. Now next terminology which you will use is about this constant change. So over here you can say it's increasing by +3, +3, +3. So this constant change is called common difference. Common difference. This common difference is denoted by D. This letter D is, I think it's almost same everywhere. We don't use any other letter mostly for this, so this is fine. We can use letter D to denote the common difference. So these are two main things which we will use, and apart from that we have some letter UN or AN. This UN or AN denotes, okay, nth term, but to understand this nth term you need to understand that. Before this you need to understand this one which I'll write now. So if you want to write third term of this sequence, so we can write it like this: u3 is equal to 7. This u3 means it's representing third term of this particular sequence, u3, or you can use letter a3 to represent the third term of the sequence. If you want to write second term of the sequence, you can use u2 is equal to 7 or a2 is equal to 7. Now you can understand this part. So if you want to show nth term of that particular sequence, then you can use UN or AN. So basically we use this UN or AN to represent general format of that sequence. Then we can use UN or AN. I think these terminologies are clear now. Let's go back to some formulas. If you have any sequence and you want to find certain term of that sequence, for example, we have this sequence on the screen 1 4 7 10. So if I ask you to find the next term, you can easily add a plus 3 and you can write the next term. So it's going to be 13. If I ask you to find, let's say it's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So if I ask you to write seventh term, so you can do a bit of calculation, plus 3 and plus 3 again, so it's going to be 13 plus 3 16 plus 3 9. This is your u7. So this is u1, u2, u3, u4, u5, then there is one more term in between, u6, then it's u7. So it's really easy to find few next terms, but if I ask you to find 100th term of this particular sequence, if I ask you to write 100th term of the sequence, in that case you have to keep adding plus 3 every time to reach that 100th term. So you can imagine how tedious is this work. So to avoid all these lengthy calculations, we will use general formula of the arithmetic sequence, which will help us to find any nth term. Any nth term is, if you want to find 50th term, 100th term or 70th term, any term which you want to find, you can simply use that formula. So now I am going to write that formula. So the formula says that nth term of any arithmetic sequence is un is equal to u1 plus n minus 1 into d. Hope it's clear. Or you can write an is equal to a plus n minus 1 into d. Now what these letters denotes over here, as I told you, an or un represents nth term, So if you want to find seventh term of any sequence, you will replace n with 7. This u1 or a represents first term. So as I told you, n represents the which term you are looking for, number of term, and d over here represents common difference. We can see the use of this formula. So let me erase this, then I'll give you an example which will help you to understand how you can use this formula. So let's say we have to find the 100th term of this sequence which we have on the screen. How can you find that? So first of all, you have to write few informations which is available in this sequence. So we are having first term of the sequence, so let's write that. You can write over here. You are having u1 as 1 itself, and you know the common difference which is plus 3. And one more thing, we are looking for u100, so we are looking for u100, 100th term, so your n is going to be 100. Now replace all these information in the formula itself. So we are looking for 100th term, so n is going to be 100. We already know the first term is 1, as we know that we are looking for 100th term, so we can replace n with 100, and then you have a common difference of 3. So let's simplify this. It's 1 plus 99 into 3, and you can simplify this. So you can see this, it's a 298, 39, 27, then 2, 39, 27 to 29. So 297 plus 1, 298. So your 100th term of this pattern is 298. How easily you can calculate the 100th term of the sequence. So this is how you can use the formula to find this the any term of this arithmetic sequence. Now I want to add few notes which will be really helpful to solve some complicated questions. So I'll just erase this example. So I think it's clear to you how you can use this formula to find any specific term. Now you have to see some techniques which will help you to solve some difficult question. So if we replace n with certain numbers, then let's see what happens. So if you have n as 2, will not start with 1, because if you will keep 1 over here, then obviously it's going to be u1 only. So let's start with u2. So u1 remains as it is, then 2 minus 1 into d, this becomes u1. So 2 minus 1 is 1 d. Now if you replace u with 3, then it becomes u1 3 minus 1 d, u1 2d. Now if you replace u with 4, then it becomes u1 4 minus 1d, which is u1 plus 3d. So you can see this interesting pattern. If you are having u2, you can directly write the general form of that u2 as u1 plus 1d. u2 is u1 plus 1d. If you are looking for u3, So you can directly write u1 plus 2d. If you're looking for u4, so you can directly write u1 plus 3d. So as we were looking for 100th term of this, so instead of writing the whole formula, we can write this as u1 plus 99d by looking at this pattern. Now solve for the answer. So u1 is 1 and 99 into 3. So you can see we'll get the same answer. Hope it's clear now. This was really important for you and it will help you to solve some difficult question in certain situation where you need to form some simultaneous equation. I'll not discuss that part too much over here because we'll separately discuss that with some real problems. Now I want to add one more important formula to this. If I ask you to find the sum of the sequence, if I ask you to find the sum of the sequence, so what does it mean? So if I ask you to add first four term of the sequence, so you can simply add it like this: 1 plus 4 plus 7 plus 10. So it's 5 plus 7 is 12 plus 10 is 22. You can add it simply. But if I ask you to find the sum of 100th term of the sequence, then it's going to be really difficult for you. To overcome those situations, we again have two formulas. So I'll just write those formula for you and then I'll explain you how you can use that. So the summation formula, sum formula of arithmetic sequence is n by 2 bracket 2u1 plus bracket open n minus 1 bracket close times d and again bracket close. So what are the n? So n is basically showing for how many terms from the first term you want to find the sum. If you want to find the sum for initial 10 terms, then your n is going to be 10. And as usual, u1 is the first term and d is the common difference. Very simple. So let's calculate the sum of first 10 term of this sequence which we have over here. So you have to write all the information first. We are looking for sum of first 10 terms. So n is 10, u1 is 1 and d is 3. These are three main information which we need. So let's replace this n with 10. So it's a 10 by 2 and 2 into 1 plus 10 minus 1 into d is 3. So we can simplify this. It's a 5, 2 and it's a 9 into 3 is 27. And then 27 in plus 2 is 29 and into 5. You can multiply this. So you can multiply 29 with 5 and you get 145 as a final answer. So this 145 is sum of first 10 initial term of this sequence. You can find sum of 100th term, 200th term, as much you want. You can find the sum of sum of arithmetic sequence. We have one more formula which is really helpful. So I'll write that formula also. If you already know the first term and the last term which you want to till which you want to add. So for example, you want to add from first term to fourth term. So we already know that the first term is u1 is 1 and the last term UL or UN is 10, and you know that we have 4 terms in between. 4 terms. So we can use this formula. Sn is equal to n by 2 and then U1 plus UL. Over here, n is the number of terms which you have to add. So it's 4 by 2, and U1 is the first term from where you want to start. You have to start adding, so it's 1 itself, and the last term over here is 10. So you can simply add and then you find the sum. So it's 2 and then 10 plus 1, 11. So it's a 22. If you know the first term and last term and you know how many terms you have included this last and first term, then you can use the second formula. And if you don't know the if you don't know the last term but you know the first term and number of terms which you have to add, in that case you have to use the first formula, and that will be really helpful. So these were the basic idea about arithmetic sequence. We have different level of questions for nth term and sum of nth term. So in coming videos I'll show you different problems based on arithmetic sequence, and that will be really helpful for your course. If you have any doubts related to this video, you can comment, and if you want to know anything specific related to this topic, you can also add that note and I'll get back to you for sure. Thank you for watching.